If you've spent any amount of time researching Flat Earth, you'll realize that there is a consistent inconsistency in their beliefs and an absolute lack of direct claim on what they think reality is. One area they do generally agree on is that the Earth is contained inside a biblical firmament, some type of dome separating the ground from the heavens. From the Bible, Genesis 1:6-8, and God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Thus God made the firmament, and divided the waters from the waters that were under the firmament, and the waters that were above the firmament. And so it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. The question I pose today is, what are the objects we see in the sky in this firmament, and where are they? Are the sun, moon, stars, and other celestial objects physical, holograms, projections, or something else? And are these objects in or beyond the firmament? And are they immovable, immutable, never changing? What does the Flat Earth community have to say about this? Let's take a look.
Just because they can mathematically simulate the universe does not mean that the universe must be real. Don't know what else to tell you.
But here's the rub. Is it common sense to imagine that I can take an 8-inch telescope in my backyard and film a thing that's 500 million miles away and its 4 biggest moons and get good images? That's not a... No. I mean, come on.
There is absolutely no experimental data. There's absolutely no empirical data. There's absolutely no data, period, that even legitimizes the idea of space-time, right? They don't even really know what space is or time, and of course...
What you see in the sky, as far as stars and wandering stars, also known as planets, are there. How could we deny them? We don't know what they actually are, but they are there. Now, what we are told about outer space and what it is not true at all.
So the most common sense and logical explanation is that those stars are right above our heads.
We've never seen a picture of anything from space that isn't debunkable.
But they are certainly not all billions of miles apart. Stars that are blurry in front because they are close, and then the further ones are very far away and they are just dots. So to me that says there are 2 layers. There's a close layer that is moving and a further layer that maybe isn't moving, but we don't see that distant layer beyond the white stars with our naked eyes.
Nobody seems to remember if the light that we call the International Space Station existed before the International Space Station. So perhaps whatever these luminaries are, they are appearing above us for a reason. And perhaps the elite know that another big one is coming, and they're going to have the story that there's another space station up there. You know, like the returning of the gods, or for lack of a better word, these luminaries, I believe, it is my belief, and I'll say that, that they are sentient in some way.
Problematic, because the entire solar system is, in fact, a created system, I have come to believe.
As you can see, no one will put their money on exactly what these objects in the heavens are. Crow thinks everything is illusion. Word believes everything and the stars are close and embedded in the firmament. Dave thinks that the objects in the sky moving at night are luminaries and beings of some kind. Jaron makes wild claims and has incensed disbelief in anything NASA says, which brings me to NASA. NASA is another one of those rare points of agreement for flat earthers. They all think it's fake. And what does the Southern Israelite believe about the objects we see in our telescopes in our backyards at night?
Number 9. Optical instruments create bodies in the heavens. Galileo's academic peers confessed that the telescope worked well when viewing terrestrial objects, but that, quote, in the sky it deceives one, as some fixed stars are seen double, unquote. Ranchi states in his famous work on optics, the section referring to magnification in a telescope, he is discussing how the mind interprets all of the variables within an optical system, stating, and I quote, "The mind now finds itself in the position of creating another star effigy, which it places at whatever distance it pleases."
This brings me to today's topic, supernova. According to science, supernovae are the explosive death of high-mass stars. Mathematically, they can be described and measured, but of course, these are the brainwash and shill scientists that the flat earthers would claim are part of the system. So does NASA control all images and data supposedly coming from space? In January of 2014, astronomer Steve Fosse of the University College London was training 4 undergraduate students on a 4-inch scope. Due to weather, their plans that day were foiled on what they wished to observe. The weather was coming in, with increasing clouds, so instead of the planned practical astronomy class, I gave the students an introductory demonstration on how to use a CCD camera on one of the observatory's automated scopes. Steve turned the scope to a clear patch of sky to observe Messier Object 82, the Cigar Galaxy. Steve and his students noticed a bright spot that they didn't recognize, and thereby became the first to discover a new supernova, SN 2014J. This discovery occurred on 21 January 2014. Clearly, Professor Fosse is part of the system, and his observations cannot be trusted. Did NASA provide him the fake images to show to his students? Or was the observation of a real object in the sky, or even a real event? Does this mean the object was created by Fosse's telescope, or did NASA fake it? Now I'd like to introduce you to Fraser Cain, the publisher of The Universe Today, an online astronomy publication, and as part of his passion, he has hosted several podcasts and online events, to include a weekly space hangout with professional and amateur astronomers, and even hosts virtual star parties where regular people capture and display images that they've taken in their backyards and put them on display for the hangout. Let's check out the star party from January 19th, 2014, 2 days before the official discovery of SN 2014J.
John, what have you got here?
This is Messier 82. M82, which is a galaxy also commonly called the Cigar Galaxy in Ursa Major. You can see the dust, different distribution, I guess you call it, of dust in this particular galaxy.
One of the classic pictures, there's one that's taken by Hubble that shows just this amazing, shows the cigar-shaped galaxy, but then also this crazy sort of filament structure that's coming off from the center of the galaxy as well. Something happened on this galaxy.
Yeah, that's what's called an active galaxy, if I remember my astronomy lessons. It has a lot of dust in it. Also, has a very active star forming region in it. And I don't think it's a producer of supernovae, at least not yet, anyway.
You're clearly able to see the supernova in the image, but they didn't realize it at the time. You can confirm the date of this posting down at the bottom, but remember the name has been changed on this posting after they discovered the event so that they could advertise a little bit for themselves. So a regular astronomer, John Kramer, discovered a supernova before NASA published about a fake supernova. I asked the Flat Earth community, what did they capture? Was it a hologram projected by NASA to cover the lie of the flat globe? Was it an aberration created by the telescope and every other telescope on the planet, including my own, because I did observe this myself in the days after the discovery? Was it a real thing that's embedded in the close firmament? Because if it's something that's in the firmament, what is it? And why didn't we see or feel this enormous explosion that would have occurred directly above our heads? Or is it just fake and we don't know what it is? But then who's controlling these projections or holograms or whatever they are? And why do they obey the laws of physics as we know them? If you can't tell me what it is that I see in the night sky through my telescope, because science can, then your argument is invalid, and it can be ignored.